I did not want to have to be that guy, but unfortunately, someone has to. This video is gonna radicalize you, I'm not gonna lie, because the thing that never happens happened again, and the media, quite literally, is running defense for the mass. I know, it's diabolical, but we're gonna have to talk about it. Canada has fallen, it's so over. The Transformers are rolling out, and they are us.
No, Nux, how can you say this? How can you say this?
You're gonna be transphobic. No. A phobia is, an irrational fear. This video will radicalize you because you're no longer gonna think it's irrational. So, media baffled as to anything these mass shooters might possibly have in common. What could these three transgender shooters have in common? I can't personally piece it together. Probably nothing. Man, we are off to a good start already. So, we have to talk about the worst mass shooting in Canadian history. The person who carried out the school massacre is an 18-year-old woman with mental health issues. She did not give a motive for one of the worst mass shootings in Canadians history. So let's understand this, okay? Let's get this. According to ABC News, reputable news outlet, a 18-year-old mentally ill woman with no motivation massacred 10 people and injured 25 more. Twitter's community note, the shooter is a biological male who allegedly self-identifies as a transgender woman. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, community. Very cool. So it's a delusional man. Now, I'm going to make a very big delineation right now, all right, between kind and nice, all right, because I believe it is very important to be kind. Being nice, however, it depends on the context. And I'll explain. If someone tells me that they are the other gender than they are, the nice thing to do is to be like, of course you are. Of course. And just affirm their delusion. The kind thing to do, because I love them, is tell them, no, that's not the case. I pray you find solace in your own body. You are mentally ill. I'm honest to the people I love. And the left is not. They'd rather be nice. So we are going to be looking at one of the biggest media cover-ups of all time, and then we're going to look into statistics. Oh my God, nothing is racist and radicalizing as statistics. All right, so let's actually understand the story first. Transgender teenager killed 10 in Canada, injured 25 in Tumbler Ridge, ironic, in British Columbia, Canada. Jessie Strang, 17, began to identify as a woman in 2023. 6 victims found dead inside Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, and another died on the way to the hospital. 2 more were found dead in a home. Unbelievable tragedy. Yeah, this is Canada. You know, the place without guns, right? The place that doesn't have guns, right? It's Canada. We're going to talk about that in a bit. They're trying to ban guns even harder now in Canada because of this. They're blaming the guns, not the clearly mentally ill retard. They're blaming the guns. Now, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I would say that the Canadian government is literally turning these people, these children, grooming them into becoming retarded and violent to commit crimes so that they could remove guns as a gigantic ploy to control the populace, an unarmed populace. But since I don't want to get banned by YouTube for conspiracy, we'll just chalk that up to me being funny in the head. Did I tell you this video is going to radicalize you? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. So, BBC News, UK, another lib-cucked media. Canada, mass shooting suspect had police visits over mental health struggles. So the police knew about this guy, all right, clearly. The police knew about this. They knew that this was a retard, and they didn't care. They didn't care. You should mention that it was trans, probably. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Isn't that weird? The media seems to really not want to talk about it. It's like, if you have like a white dude do it, it's like, straight, white, Christian male, white nationalist, Nazi, KKK, racist member, and they immediately know all the things. All right, but if it's a transgender individual, it's mentally ill person, visited police before. All right, dude. Anyway, now, the real culture war topic we need to talk about, and I feel like we need to discuss this at length, is the fact that the trans movement is a gigantic psyop, because every normal person knows there's 2 genders. However, a bunch of, in my opinion, brainwashed libtards are convinced into thinking, oh, no, actually, we have to have empathy for people that are retarded. So, let's understand what we're doing here. This is from Robert Trivers, a top Harvard scientist, to Jeffrey Epstein. All right, they had a whole discussion about transgenderism. All right. It is very simple. I will compare male to female to male. With greater molecular control over development, we are increasingly capable of producing novel phenotypes, more feminine men, by blocking testosterone receptors or castration, at the same time increasing estrogen production. The one that blocks male features, the second encourages female features. More masculine women, heavy testosterone dosage, and external effects. Heavily bearded men, you would never guess they have a female bone in their body. First kind, male to female, far more frequent than female to male. First is attractive. He's a woman with a cock if your fantasy is to suck a man's dick. Otherwise, you are completely heterosexual. It would be much nicer if the rest of the organism is female. Then you could get the best of both worlds. So many transsexual women are very attractive and easily make money, and in turn promotes their prostitution. Since they have to pay hefty fees for injections every week. But they are sexually happy. Once you have reached manhood, even castration does not present the sensation of the organism. For contrast, poor female to male versions, they are unhappy and lonely. They are men with mum pups. They have the worst of both worlds. If you like smelly masculine men, and you want the hard cock that comes with the show, you want one of nature's more complex variable structures, the pum-pum. This is an acquired taste, and not with a man. There are hundreds of female trans videos and websites. I've never seen a male one. By the way, get ready. This is the truth nuke. We are now pushing the intervention earlier. If you notice your 3-year-old son has trans tendencies, so you now intervene with hormones, I would be frightened to do that, but who knows? The trans movement was astroturfed by everyone's favorite billionaire philanthropist, sex offender, pedophile, cannibal, Jeffrey Epstein. This is them discussing how to utilize it for prostitution of children, it seems. I wonder why every trans activist is talking about trans children. Well, it all comes downstream from everyone's favorite Jeffrey. Never forget the villains that actually pushed this movement, because there is not one iota of natural scientific perspectives that could have burst this absolutely astroturfed nightmare. Aside from the 42% suicide rate among trans people, there's also an unbelievable amount of violence. And we're going to be talking about that today. So, of course, the Canadian government immediately terrified. They have to talk about this. This is huge. Not really because there's a mass shooting, but the mass shooter, unfortunately, is from a protected class.
That includes the deceased gun person.
The gun person, not the gunman. The gun person.
Okay. And then separately, do you know the gun person's relationship to the...
Why are we it's unbelievable that we take this seriously as a people. Okay, this is retarded. This is absolutely retarded. I don't believe in affirming people's delusions in general, but, you know, especially if they're a mass murderer. It's not like the trans community is celebrating this guy, right? Right? I told you this video is going to radicalize you. So anyway, the gun person is dead. Very unbelievable stuff. All right, then we got the Canadian police doing an entire media run. They have to talk about this. It's obviously important.
We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this. We identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that...
This is a mass murderer. Okay, this is a terrorist that shot up a school and killed 10 people. And we're literally... the entire media is running out there to try to affirm the delusions of the terrorist.
Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female, both socially and publishing.
This was a terrorist. This is a mass murderer we're talking about here. Are we on the same page? But they don't care. Here we have a sheriff, or whatever the Canadian equivalent is, like absolutely losing his mind, terrified that he might get canceled for misgendering a mass murderer. This is not a serious country. These aren't serious people, and this is not a serious conversation. Now, the real truth is, and I know this is going to come as a shock to you, 90% of people think there's two genders, okay? 90% of people think there's two genders, except of that 90%, a solid 40% is willing to lie to you. No one thinks these unstable transformers are successfully swapping genders magically. All right? Now, the shooter was reportedly a mentally ill male who identified as trans, pretended to be a girl. Police didn't want to offend him by misgendering, so they called him a gun person. Pure insanity, man. It's absolutely crazy. Canadian reporter person announces police persons have identified gun person. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Really glad. What a serious country. Just look at the media. It's unbelievable. Shootings at a school and home at British Columbia, Canada, leave 10 dead. A woman police believe to be the shooter was killed. Canada school, 9 killed by female. 10 dead after Woman opens fire. 10 dead, rare Canadian school shooting. Female suspect among them. 10 dead, including female suspect. Female identified as suspect. Canada school leaves 9 dead as female suspect, including female suspect. 10 dead, including female suspect. This is insanity. And remember when I said that it's important to be kind as opposed to nice? Here we have a retard. Well, the reporting what he identified as seems respectful to me. Get out of here. These people don't believe in reality at all. It's unbelievable. Yes, it was a man that looked like Shrek, all right? 5 o'clock shadow and a dress and lipstick, all right? But no, obviously super important. Yeah, this is a female. We must talk about ad nauseum that it's a female. But don't worry, the retardation doesn't end there, all right? Media out there be like, all right, so if it's a white person, it's obviously a hate crime, and if it's a one of these, it's a motive unknown. I mean, I feel like this might be one of the most relatable, realistic memes I've ever seen, tragically speaking. It's honestly heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but it's true. Motive unknown. What could have possibly been going wrong? What was there some sort of chemical imbalance in this person's brain? It's time to address the elephant in the room. If you won't affirm their identity, they will massacre your children. Now people are saying this is like this is glib. It's not nice. How could you say this? Is it a lie? Like, by me saying that there's 2 genders, because obviously there's 2 genders, they refer to my words as a trans genocide. I'm not even kidding. This is how they operate. They say that I am trying to kill trans people by telling you the objective fact that there are 2 genders. So in their worldview, if I am trying to kill them with these words, then self-defense would be killing me. I think that's partially why they're so violent, because, again, reality is completely malleable to these people. Yeah, nothing to see here, just a emotionally stable girl, probably. This is a clip that came out about this guy, yeah, no, definitely not someone possessed by a demon. This goes on for about another minute, but the reality is, this person told me to affirm their gender, so therefore I am believing them. Yeah, demon possession isn't real, but you know what is real? You know what is real? We should listen to this person's worldview and not ever question them when they purchase a firearm. This seems like someone that's completely mentally stable and sound. Oh my God, this is Jesse Rootslasser, the 18-year-old trans shooter who murdered 10 people in Tumbler Ridge yesterday in Canada. Instead of dealing with the obviously mental health issues, Canadians' health authorities convinced Jesse he was trans, pumped him full of hormone, puberty blockers, whole heap of other medication. They poisoned his body and mind instead of getting him the help he actually needed. Yikes, dude. And their solution, instead of seeing something like this and being like, wow, that's pretty fucked up, this guy seems retarded, instead of hitting you with that, they would much rather tell you that, no, actually, you're normal, you're better even, I would say, all right? And we are going to affirm your delusion, give you all sorts of drugs, and this is the kind of person that's going to make the life-altering decision of, you know, chopping off their penis and shit. We're going to imbalance this guy's hormones, all right? You know, we're going to pump him full of estrogen because imbalancing his hormones won't make him violent or anything, right, guys? Right, guys? The transgender murderer that committed the deadliest massacre in Canadian history was also worshiping Satan, all right? Now, this is a surprise to no one, actually, but the reality is, here we have old posts from this individual. They found his Reddit and everything. Blessed are the destroyers of false hope, for they are the true messiahs. Cursed are the God adorers, for they shall be shorn sheep. Like, this is actual satanic shit. All right, actual quotes from the satanic Bible that this person was posting. Probably nothing weird here at all. This is probably completely normal things, right? All the freedom of religion retards don't think it's a problem when you have people worshiping Lucifer. Ironically, and I mean this without a semblance of comedy, all the depictions of, like, demons are hermaphrodites. They're all transgender. But that's probably just a coincidence. I'm not calling any of this demonic. Nope, none of this is demonic. This is just a completely normal, sane individual. We should affirm their gender completely and bend over backwards in society, no matter how many people get caught in the crossfire of us affirming the delusions of retards. And again, people are going to say this is transphobic, but the reality is, A, it's not irrational, and B, I don't hate these people. I really don't. I pity them. One of the biggest twists in this entire case that I didn't see coming, it's that they actually found this guy's Reddit account. All right, and it turns out Matt Walsh called him out 3 years ago. This was the biggest twist ever. All right, so this is Jesse Boy. This is the killer. All right, and this man posted on the male to female subreddit, all right, actual grooming subreddit, which appears to not even be an 18+ subreddit. I don't know. How can I stop comparing myself to fictional characters? I'm trans, male to female. I'm pre-HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. 15-year-old. I've been viewing a lot of anime-related content recently. I was never into it before. Characters were always so cute. I didn't want to be 2D or anything, but like the characters themselves. But when it comes to their body shape, I often find myself comparing to their semi-unrealistic, yet still physically impossible shape. Specifically when it comes to height, BMI, and obviously their chesticles. I'm super skinny, but But that sometimes made me feel kind of good. I'm pre-HRT, and my expectations are minimal for chest growth, and I'm 6 feet tall. Why can't I be petite and small? So anyway, so this shit shows up. This account says, never let your kids watch anime. Matt Walsh says, hate to say I told you so. The Vosh subreddit, all right, he's a communist, said, Matt Walsh quote tweets account that a person's adult content without permission is a form of targeted harassment. Wah, wah, wah. Targeted harassment. Wah, wah, wah. Matt Walsh bad. This guy ended up shooting up a fucking school. Matt Walsh was right. He could have saved you if you would have actually listened to him. Now, there's a lot of theory as to what goes on that starts people wanting to transition. It comes from a lot of places. Some people just have the mental illness. Apparently, some people, get it from media that they consume, from sexual fantasies that they have. There's a big theory now that it comes from a lot of porn viewing, right? That someone watches porn from a third perspective, right? And they end up envisioning themselves as the woman instead of as the man in the specific situation, and it fucks with their brain. I used to make a lot of content making fun of weird porn that comes out of Japan that's fucked up. And to be honest, I regret ever even talking about it because the reality is it's disgusting, all right? And we have to stop normalizing porn consumption in society. Ironically, when I was making content like that, every fucking YouTuber on the planet was more than happy to associate and collab with me in all of those videos. But now, when I talk about things that are just, normal and objective, like there's 2 genders, all right, all of a sudden, oh my god, he's a far-right demagogue. We have to fucking kill him. Really goes to show. But anyway, it gets worse. All right, so here, oh my god, this is a nightmare. This is a rough timeline of the Reddit account of the Canadian school shooter. Found Reddit at 10 years old for Roblox. Interested in normal boy things at 13, like guns and military stuff. All right, so here we go. Accidentally 3D printed bullets and shit like that. Transition at 15. Pills, needles, stuff like that. Starts experimenting with drugs while on SSRIs. Shoots up a school at age 17. Absolute nightmare timeline. This is just a normal kid groomed by transgenders on the internet. And honestly, normalizing this shit is a problem, all right? If this person had a good male role model in his life that told him that this shit was fucking insane somewhere between 13 and 15, he might not have ended up shooting up a school. Now, anyway, mother killed by transgender Canadian school shooter previously defended trans rights in old Instagram post. Now, I'm not saying this to say, had it coming or whatever, because I'm not a leftist that supports the murder of people that I don't like. I am saying, however, that it's this suicidal empathy that just ends up being so self-destructive for all these people. It's the mass movement of, liberal women primarily that are pushing for mass migration, and then the rape rate goes up in different countries and pushes for shit like this, and it ends up being bad, right? Again, there's a difference between kind and nice, and liberalism teaches you to be nice, but it really doesn't teach you to be kind. What an absolute travesty. But don't worry, it gets worse. So, pray for 12-year-old Maya Edmonds. Maya is fighting for her life, one of the 34 victims of the trans gunman in Canada. She's still alive, thank God. I hope for her to have a speedy recovery. But it's unbelievable. Now, interestingly enough, the Tumbler Ridge gunman, Jesse Strang, the gun person, transitioned 6 years ago at 12 years old. 6 years ago, CBC Kids in Canada aired this. Yeah, it gets worse. We talk to the stars of drag kids. That's kids that cross-dress.
I'm Bracken. I'm a 12-year-old hyper queen, meaning a 12-year-old female drag queen. My drag name is also my real name. Simple.
I'm Jason Kerr, and my drag name is Susan B. Anthony.
My name is Nemes. My drag name is Lactatia.
I'm Stefan.
Yikes,
and my drag name is Lady Gaga.
Like, these are kids that are groomed by society and their parents into this shit. All right, this is a 9-year-old kid. What are we doing?
Drag
is a lot of things.
Drag is a performing art because you are the canvas. It's showing who you are, but like with singing and dancing.
Drag is just a self-expression and an art. You are the canvas. You do your
No, it's not. It's a mental illness, and it's an abomination against God. All right, but anyway, this is how they groom you.
own thing, and you perform.
A man transforms into a woman for
Wow.
entertainment, and a woman transforms into a man for entertainment.
Yeah. Anyway, now 10 people are dead. So anyway, that's pretty insane. CBS Kids also put out a casting call around the same time. Look how insane. It's amazing. Please only submit if you're the following criteria: male between the ages of 23 and 35 years old, any race except Caucasian. Damn, pretty insane. It's every woke shitstorm all mixed together. So yeah, by complete coincidence, 6 years ago when this mass shooter started to transition, they started playing shit like this on kids channels in Canada. Probably a coincidence. But again, it's almost like when God said it's an abomination against God. He was right, actually, it turns out. Now, the media is doing their absolute best to run defense for this guy, this murderer. Okay? Look how insane this is. Tumblr Ridge shooting suspect identified. They photoshopped his fucking face to make him prettier. Are we serious? This is a murder. This is a mass murder. What are we doing? Holy crap, it gets worse. Hold on, let me... Yeah, here it is. Here's the side-by-side. Check this out, dude. Look at this. Canada media outlet uses an AI filter to make the Tumblr Ridge killer look female. This has got to be the most evil thing I've ever seen. And then, after they were called out, they updated the thumbnail. This is evil. Are we serious? We're giving a glow up to the trans killer to make him look more female so people don't realize that most of them look like troglodytes? Not trying to be rude here, I'm just being honest. But the reality is, it's even worse. So Mark Carney, all right, the CCP operative and current Prime Minister of Canada, he decided, yo, this is the time. We have to ban guns.
Mr. Speaker, we have been here before. École Polytechnique in Montreal, the Islamic Cultural Center of Quebec City, La Loche, Saskatchewan, Humboldt, Saskatchewan, Potepic, Nova Scotia. Each time, it breaks us open. Each time, Canadians show who we are. Mr. Speaker, in the days ahead, there'll be
Canadians really showed who they are with this one. All right, not wanting to misgender the mass murderer.
important questions to ask, difficult conversations to have.
All right, get ready.
We owe that to the victims and their families.
Right, difficult conversations. Let's ban guns. And incredible stuff. All right, let's not address the obvious issue with jihadi trans people. Let's talk about how guns kill people. Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, because this person couldn't have ever stabbed someone with a knife. All right, so this is a video of the Tumblr Ridge shooter, Jesse Strang, firing a Desert Eagle at a shooting range. Yeah, and anyway, and this transgender individual, he was trying to get HRT at 15, which means he'd been groomed even before that. The trans community is a violent death cult. Look, man, it's kind of insane if you think about it, but this is kind of what's happening. And you think the media reporting was bad now? You think that the media reporting was bad until now? You're not ready for what you're about to hear. Honestly, when you hear this, you will know that we're living in clown world. You will know there's demons walking among us. Get ready, boys and girls.
Self-inflicted. Police say the attacker was dead. When they found her, she had a self-inflicted wound, and she matched the description given in an earlier police alert. Female, wearing a dress with brown hair. That is extremely unusual. It's rare to have a female attacker. Police say the attacker.
We are literally living in clown world. All right, this is a man, okay? This is a man, okay, that shot up a school, all right? But a mentally ill man that says he's a woman. And the media is surprised because there aren't a lot of female mass shooters. So rare to have a female mass shooter. What the actual fuck are we doing? These are not serious people. This is not a serious conversation, all right? What is even happening? Imagine losing your mind. That I can't believe it, a female mass shooter, it's so rare, when it's literally a guy. Unbelievable levels of delusion going on. All right, the thing that never happened happened. Oh no, he will kill us all. You mean she will kill us all. Oh, thank you so much. Wow, thank you for correcting me on that. Very important. Yeah, anyway, Tumblr rich shooter identified Canadian, whatever. A dangerous pattern seems to be emerging that nobody wants to talk about. That's all I'll say. All right, that's what was said on Reddit. A pattern is emerging. Obviously referring to the string of transgender mass shootings that happened recently. Removed by moderator. Immediately removed from the subreddit because this is even hinting. Patterns? Patterns are racist. Did you not get the memo? Did you not get the memo, sir? Prime Minister Carney sent his teenage daughter to the now closed transgender clinic. The clinic closed due to abuse of children and stated that children were at considerable risk of poor mental health and distress. No fucking shit. Unbelievable, bro. Like, this is crazy. And honestly, this little comedy skit over here basically sums up the Canadian entire media over the last couple of days.
Honestly, if a transgender person murdered your whole family and you were being interviewed by the news, you'd have to be like, I feel so blessed that they would choose to murder my family. So happy they can just be who they are.
Basically, an entire country held hostage by retardation and demons. Think about how insane this is. You have a mentally ill individual that has an incredibly high rate of committing acts of violence onto themselves or others, transgender people. This is just an objective fact. All right? So you have someone like that commits a crime like this. It's unbelievable. The Canadian government pushes this shit onto kids to turn them into these transformers. And then the Canadian government decides that we are going to use this to double down on pushing trans ideology everywhere. We're going to label you transphobic if you're upset about this whole, little itty-bitty school shooting that happened. And also, we are going to use this as a gigantic move, a sweeping move to take guns away from people and to de-arm the population. This might be one of the most diabolical, evil shits I've ever seen. It's honestly incredible. Like, I feel like this is some sort of Game of Thrones tactic in order to remove weapons from people that might resist you when you inevitably cozy up with China and this Chinese Communist Party takes over. You don't want some sort of gang war as you import infinite aliens from other countries. So you just de-arm the population by manipulating volatile, mentally ill children into committing terror attacks. Look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything.
Liberal. Happy fun, la la la. Human smuggling, fentanyl deaths, forced government euthanasia.
I don't know, man. Canada's living the dream right now. The Alex Jones dream. It's unbelievable, actually. All right, let's look at a little bit of statistics. All right, before we look at the stats, let's look at a couple of completely irrelevant, disconnected stories. The Tumblr Ridge mass shooter, trans. The Nashville Covenant shooter, trans. The Annunciation Catholic Church shooter, trans. The Denver STEM School, trans. Aberdeen, Maryland, trans. Colorado Springs, non-binary. Assassin of Charlie Kirk, a non-binary furry dating a trans person. And it doesn't stop. It's almost like there's a string of mental illness here or something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. All right, are you ready? Let's look at the rate of sexual offense. I told you this video was going to radicalize the fuck out of you. All right, so here is the rate of sexual offending, England and Wales, based on 2021. All right, so for females, it's about 109 out of 25 million. All right, 4 per million females that commit these acts. Okay, all right. Then, moving on. Males, it's 11,500 out of 23 million. 490 per million males. Okay. Males identifying as women, 56 out of 47,000, which is 1,177 per million. So, it turns out that it's only approaching triple the rate. So, like, should we really worry that it's only approximately between double and triple the amount of sex crimes that they commit? Should we worry yet? Should we worry? Is it worth it? I mean, all these victims, like, technically, they're a small price to pay to affirm the gender of mentally ill people. Are you radicalized yet? Are you radicalized that they're literally sacrificing innocent lives to affirm the delusions of people? That might sound nice, right? It might sound nice that you're affirming people's delusions, but it's definitely not kind. All right. Now, people are starting to investigate all the trans slurs, which is definitely a development that I didn't see coming. Heard everyone's losing their mind. What is true? All right. So, true, noun. When a fat thinks he's a girl who may or may not have mutilated his meat stick yet. enjoys girls' clothing, gets high on estrogen, gets more aggressive with time because transition never lives up to the fantasy. Once they turn bitter, they lust for the end and either transition themselves to the afterlife or choose suicide by cop after murdering as many innocent white children as possible. Now, you might think that this is very glib and sad. And it is. It is very glib and it is very glib and sad. It's also horrifyingly accurate. And YouTube, don't remove this video for bullying and harassment. I'm not bullying and harassing trans people. This is educational content. People have to know the slurs, okay? It's important, okay? This is education. All right, now let's trust the science on this, all right? You ready for a little more statistics to get you just a little more radicalized? Mass shooting rates by demographic. All right, so for Native Americans, it's basically none. Hispanic, 0.047. All right, that's here we go. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. White people, 0.08. Black people, 0.09. Asians, 0.2. That's pretty diabolical. Remember, on all these charts, Asian includes Muslims from Asia, like Pakistan. Just thought I should let you know. Trans non-binary, 0.7. That's right. 9 times more likely than a white guy, for example. It is 9 times more likely for a trans person to be a mass shooter than a white dude. It's almost like they're mentally ill or something, all right? Immediately, you have retards in the comments freaking out. No! The trans should be under the white category. Yeah, we know, bro. We know. Okay. So, yeah, you literally can't even make this up. Like, what do you want me to fucking say? No, the statistics are racist. The statistics are transphobic. Listen, guys, just stop shooting up schools and we'll stop worrying about it, okay? Okay, all right, okay, all right. They won't. Which is why we need to stop embracing mental illness in society and making believe that it's the new normal. All right, now I'm going to show you a couple instances of things that happened just over the last day or two, okay? This one's super viral. 16-year-old female wrestler was sexually assaulted by a biological male opponent in the girls division. All right, so this is a girls match. All right, where literally this woman is getting absolutely overpowered by this man. And get ready. It's a nightmare. It's horrible. And then this happens. Whatever. I can't show you the rest of it, even though it's blurred. I don't want to show it. But this is crazy. This is a man. This is just a guy that's beating up and sexually assaulting women. And the craziest part is the government is so nice. They're so nice. They're not kind, but they're so nice that they tell them that this is actually good and great because we have to respect the preferred pronouns of these people. All right. Slate decided to publish on the day of the shooting in Canada. Conservatives are terrified people like me are buying guns, referring to trans people. Maybe they should be. Conservatives should be afraid that I'm buying guns, says trans people on the day of a trans person committing a mass shooting. It's almost like they celebrated in a giant death cult or something. Isadora Borges is facing 10 years in jail for posting in Brazil that males can't be female. That's right. It's become one of these major taboos, all right? You can't deny the Holocaust, and you can't say that there are 2 genders, apparently, in certain countries. All right, thank God we're in America, and people can't believe this is true. But Grok, is this true? Is that real? And then look at that, bro. Yes, it is true. Faces 10 years, 2 to 5 per count for 2 transphobia charges over 2020 Twitter posts, stating transgender women are born male and retain birth DNA, which is an objective fact. This is an objective fact. Brazil's Supreme Court equates transphobia with racism, leading to prosecutions. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen, dude. They will tell you something that is objectively not real. They will force you to agree with the thing that's objectively not real. They will harass you, threaten you if you don't agree with the thing that's objectively not real, and they will jail you ultimately if they could get away with it. God bless America. Thank God for the First Amendment. But this is absolute insanity. It is shocking that we are allowing the grooming of children on an industrial level in society legally. And we can't say that, well, oopsie poopsie, we didn't notice. We are mandating it in schools, and by we, I mean our governments. We're going to need some Nuremberg trial shit when this is done. And the craziest thing is, in 100 years, we're going to look back and be like, holy fuck, we were retarded. I can't believe people were actually like this. This has to be fake news. This has to be a conspiracy theory made by the Jews. All right, like, bro, like, no one's going to believe that we were doing this. All right, that we were taking mentally ill people, we were affirming their delusions and giving them weapons. And then they would commit mass killings, and we would not want to offend them even after their death. And we would still write misleading news articles because of shit like that. All right, and it's crazy, bro. So look at posts like this. All right, so this is the type of social media content very popular in trans people. All right, remember to keep a positive mindset. Don't think being trans sucks, I should kill myself. Do think being trans sucks, I should kill everyone. 800,000 views. It's funny. That's funny. Comedy is legal, guys. That's hilarious. So this guy's like, yo, this is social media content popular with trans people. The response, it's called beast mode. It's called being based, actually. Ironically, there's an entire subculture of transgenderism where they're just like openly fantasizing about committing mass killings. It's almost like they have violent urges and tendencies, very, very equivalent to the violent urges and tendencies of schizophrenics. It's almost like it's a gigantic mental illness that makes people violent. I love how discourse on the left is a right-wing guy or whatever says there's two genders because, you know, obviously there's two genders. That's just an objective fact. All right. As it says in every science textbook, it says it in the Bible. It says it's obvious if you have eyes, you know, all of society forever viewed it that way, etc., etc. All right. So, you know, conservative guy says there's two genders. And the trans people, they lose their mind. Words are violent. It's trans genocide. We must fight back. And then the trans people are just like openly fantasizing about committing mass murder. Lol, what? Huh? Are we serious? What is going on? Children, trans people, the trans community is under attack every single time, bro. What are we doing? This is not a moment. This is not a moment where we could sit here and bitch about pronouns. There was a mass shooting, but nope, these guys out. Nope, sorry, bro. We're just transmaxing. All right, we're transmaxing and aura farming, and we're just mogging the non-trans people. Every single time you misgender a trans person after they commit a mass shooting, their cortisol spikes to heaven. It's unbelievable stuff. And the reality is we have to deal with this shit because for whatever reason, they have released a mutated, drugged, mentally ill horde and throng upon our society. All right? With every liberal establishment teaching you that, no, you actually have to love that. Liberal. Forced government euthanasia. All right, so now we got to see what the LGBT activists are saying about this.
As a person who went to school,
wow,
had hateful comments directed my way.
You mean like every single person that ever went to school?
The first victim of this tragedy was the shooter.
Yeah, because the government told them that they were actually transgender and not mentally ill.
And you can disagree all you want. But that person did not just decide one day that it was the day.
Dude's running defense for the killer because the killer was bullied for being transgender in high school. You can't even make this shit up. All right? The killer was bullied for being transgender because the government, because even kids know there's two genders. That's the craziest thing. Every kid you ask is going to say there's two genders, all right? There's boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, all right? They're going to hit you with that shit immediately. Ironically, they could trick, 15-year-old liberals, but they cannot trick a 6-year-old with eyes. They're just too honest at that age. So this idiot, because we all, as a society, decided we have to affirm the delusions of people, all right, they're going to get made fun of. They're going to get absolutely bullied because, yeah, they're retarded and they're, flaunting their retardation in public, all right? They decided to become an abomination against God. Look, not my words, all right? It says in Deuteronomy, if you cross-dress, you're an abomination against God. It's the word of God, all right, whatever. So they decided they're going to take that stance, and everyone knows it. Inside, everyone knows that shit's gross. Sorry for the news flash. Maybe you didn't know this, but everyone knows it. And some people are going to let them know about it. If the government would actually instead be like, no, actually, there's two genders, obviously. We're not going to affirm the delusions of these people. If someone says stuff like this, we're going to get them help. We're going to get them therapy. We're going to make sure that they are as comfortable as they possibly can be in their own body and not feel the need to chop their dick off and start looking like the Joker. So, yeah. Anyway, the victim here is really the shooter because the shooter was bullied for being trans in high school.
It was the day that they could not take it any longer.
Not an excuse, all right? You have free will. You don't go shoot up a fucking school. What are we doing?
I know it's a small community. But you know what also comes with a small community? A small mindset.
Huh?
An uneducation to understand that maybe...
Uneducation isn't a word. Anyway.
Difference is okay.
Yeah, difference is okay. But we should also acknowledge that reality is real and not whatever you want it to be.
The first victim to this tragedy was the shooter.
Yeah, now say that about some Nazi that decides to commit a mass shooting, all right? Say that about some straight white male that commits a terror attack, that the first victim was the shooter. All right, I love these guys. It's incredible. It's like, actually, I know Hamas decided to attack Israel, but Israel, the first victim was Hamas. Like, okay, dude.
Verbal abuse is what pushes people to a point where they don't feel worthy to be here any longer.
True.
And I only know this because I am a victim.
By the way, it's true. Humiliating people is, it's absolutely horrible when we humiliate people just for the sake of it. It's a disgusting, disgusting trait in society. But I do it for the force of good. We have to humiliate these people a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude here or anything, but we need to acknowledge that there's two genders. I'm being real here, all right? Like, this is ABCs, bro.
Of this still to this day.
I'm sorry about that. And you decided to post this online for people to make fun of you.
There's only so much a person can handle. And I believe that in a small community, the hate and the transphobia in this country,
oh wow,
is the reason why tragedies happen.
Yeah, so the tragedy is not the murder of 10 children. The tragedy is the transphobia that the shooter had. Wow, it's insane, bro. We have a serious problem. Holy fuck, look at this. This is the Joker.
Angry.
Holy shit.
Go out, buy a gun. It's okay to be angry.
Get out of my face now!
If you try to stop me from going into a woman's bathroom,
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
be the last mistake you ever make.
It is ma'am.
Find that anger.
Just because people. Hey!
Harness it to do good in the world.
Yeah.
This anger.
You're fucking done, man. We can just make a fucking batch and say that some of us fucking well.
Anger is probably my primary source of motivation.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
The thing is, you don't have to leave.
You loser, bitch.
For everything that I do.
Cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
I'll fuck you up.
It was a call to action or a call to arms.
It's not! Sorry, man. It's not!
Don't be afraid to show your anger.
Yeah, it's totally not a death cult, guys. It's totally not a death cult. You know, the craziest thing is, it's like, you know, the 7 deadly sins is just literally personified in the LGBT community. It really is. A movement built on anger, right? Wrath and pride. And then that's literally, and lust and envy. And greed. It's crazy. It's honestly, it's horrifying. It's horrifying shit. It really is. And they just expect you to roll over and go along with it because you have to be nice. You have to be nice. And that's why I say to all my libertarian friends, right? A lot of libertarians think they're based. I've been at war with these guys lately. I'm not actually. I don't have any hate towards any of these guys at all, obviously. I don't have hate towards any of these transgender people. Again, I told you, I don't hate them at all. I pity them. I honestly pity them. They have a mental illness that's so much worse now and exacerbated because society told them it's normal. All right? So, just to make it clear, because I think it's super important to note, the libertarian mindset is, well, he can do whatever he wants. We shouldn't actually let governments go ahead and stop people from doing whatever the fuck they want. I do not believe in this anymore, okay? Because this doesn't just affect them. It affects society. It affects kids. It affects the grooming situation that goes on. It honestly, it gets so many more people to commit suicide. It causes unbelievable amounts of violence. It muddies the waters of reality. Reality is important. We need to enforce reality. We don't need to sit by and get cucked by our delusions. And that's why the libertarian mindset sometimes is just so frustrating to me. Now, I say this as a former libertarian. 10 years ago, I was a live and let live guy. I was like, you know what? He's doing his thing. It's in private. It's not really not of my business. He can do whatever he wants to dress as a woman. He wants to fucking... I totally changed my viewpoint on this. We should not sit idly by as people commit abominations against God. All right, it's bad for him, it's bad for us, it's bad for society, it's bad for the future generations. We should not take this lying down because live and let live. I don't bother you, you don't bother me. You are bothering me. All right, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude here. And again, I'm not saying kill trans people. God forbid, of course not. But I mean, be honest with them. Here come the rooster. Yeah. Just a normal day. Just a totally normal day. Nothing to see here. Absolutely nothing abnormal here. All right, so this just happened yesterday. This is a violent man pretending to be a woman, threatening and assaulting women.
You piece of shit. He's a fucking senior again. You piece of shit. I don't care if you look like a girl. You're a man. So stop acting like it.
Stop acting like a piece of shit.
Get out of my face, okay?
Oh, make me.
Just get out of my face. Why would you be confrontational?
Make me.
I didn't do anything. Why? You're not worth it, buddy. Okay? So fuck off, you piece of shit.
You're one to talk about worth.
Ugly fucking ginger.
You're worth less than the shit in the fucking soles of my
You're
fucking
hilarious.
shoes.
Get out of my fucking face. Hey, you wanna fucking go? Hey, you wanna fucking go? What are you doing?
It's almost like this dude literally couldn't hold himself back from beating the shit out of a random woman that had an opinion they disagreed with. Wow, that's crazy. Totally not a mental illness, guys. Totally not a mental illness, all right? This is normal. Breaking, the European Parliament just declared trans women are women. During today's vote, the Parliament adopted a resolution recognizing trans women as women. Woo! Let's go! All right, this is for the European Parliament. Please look at this. Look at the chart. Tap sign. Look at the chart. Look at the chart. All right, important to note, these are genders. All right, these are mental illnesses. Okay, we don't like. Please look at the chart. Anyway, so this is the Miss Florida winner, Kayleigh Bush. She speaks out after her crown was revoked for saying that men cannot be women. All right, so she says the truth and she loses her shit. All right, so much for free speech, right, guys?
You were looking to compete for Miss America, but then they took your Florida crown off you because you made statements about sort of transgender?
Yes, that is exactly right. I was asked to sign a contract that was different than the first one that I had agreed to because they had changed it 4 weeks after I rightly won. And so I didn't lose my crown because I broke a rule. I lost the crown because I was unwilling to rewrite the truth.
And were you super upset?
Based as fuck.
Obviously, when you lost your crown and then Miss Cheerleads America reached out to you and said, hey, we'll honor you.
Yes, it was heartbreaking, it was confusing, it was disappointing because Miss America has been honoring women for over 100 years and now they can't even define what a woman is.
True!
And, heartbroken, it was a lot of soul searching, but God uses all things for good and
Hey, hell yeah, look at that. What a good it's crazy. All right, so trans person gets bullied, they shoot up a school. All right, woman gets bullied, right? This is a conservative woman that got bullied. Faith in God, things will work out. Isn't that beautiful? It's unbelievable. Look at this contrast.
Here I am.
Well, what were the circumstances that you spoke out about this?
So by circumstances, do you mean like...
So at what point did you say that men cannot be women?
Well, immediately as soon as we were given the contract, first thing, my mom and we started raising concern about it and got on a conference call immediately with one of the directors for the Miss America organization, and weeks and weeks and weeks of pleading with them, sending videos, sending letters, emails, demand letters through Liberty Counsel because they picked up my case, and they just no, and they doubled down and basically just got to the point where
wow, you mean to tell me that they're sacrificing women, like actual real women, because they need to be nice to other people? That doesn't sound very kind.
What was the letter?
What did you say originally? What precipitated you speaking out?
Declining to sign the contract. Yeah, declining to sign the contract.
Okay.
Because I couldn't agree that a little boy could mutilate his body and become a woman.
Hey. Why was that in the contract?
I don't know. That's something we gotta ask the Miss America organization.
Yeah, wow.
Have you had any celebrity support?
We've had a little bit, yes we have.
From who?
Riley Gaines, we've had Lee Allen Baker, the famous Miss Liz Doyle.
All right, whatever. I'm not a big fan. Like, whenever people start talking about celebrity support, like, it's a nice thing, obviously. I'm sure normies are excited, but celebrities, in my opinion, are like, all right, dude. Okay, so you say words written by smarter people, and again, no shade to any celebrities on this. I just personally don't care. So this story got 215,000 likes. Obviously, this is a it's a beautiful story that she, came out and said this, and took this on the chin in a beautiful way. She praised God, and I think it's incredible that culture is being brought back into public life. However, fuck Miss America for this. What the fuck, dude? Miss America can't define women, sacrifice women for the sake of being nice to people. And dude, every single interview is just, each one is scarier than the last.
A lot of people, particularly people who voted for Donald Trump, I think have this proclivity to claim that kids don't know who they are, especially when they're talking about younger kids. There's no way they could ever know that they're transgender. This is something that only adults could know, etc. What would you say to those people, whether it's stuff from your personal experience or professional experience or both?
I think that you're not talking to kids because kids are really smart and they know themselves better than anybody. And I think if you were to talk to a transgender American kid, that they would be able to tell you exactly when they started conceptualizing their gender and started feeling complex feelings about it. From my experience, these feelings start up like 2 to 3 years old. So these are feelings that these kids are living with at a really young age.
I would just like to point out how absolutely and fundamentally absurd this is. Children can't even write their own names until the age of 5. Most children aren't fully potty trained and are still having accidents well into the age of 6. The critical thinking standard for a 2-year-old is sorting items into categories based on similar features like their color or shape. And you think they know that they're transgender at
Yeah, so anyway, is there anyone else that was talking about turning kids transgender at the age of 3? Oh, that's right, Jeffrey Epstein. That's right, Jeffrey Epstein was talking about this. Like, the crazy thing is, it's completely illogical on every single level. It's illogical that transgenderism is a real thing, that, you know, you're a man trapped in a woman's body. All right, that's illogical. But add insult to injury, you want 2-year-olds starting to transition? Are we serious? But how is this not just an absolute culture of grooming? It's unbelievable. All right, so let's talk about the thing that they said never happens.
On May 4th, 2024, May 10th, 2025, May 17th, 2025, May 30th, 2025, and January 31st, 2026, I competed in meets where I lost to a male athlete competing in a girls' track and field.
I was told that this is a thing that never happens, though. I was told this never happens. All right, it's so rare, it never happens.
This is my voice, 1 hour pre-testosterone. This is my voice, 3 weeks on testosterone. This is my voice, 6 weeks on testosterone.
I waited way too long for this because my voice has dropped like 4 times since the last time I did this. But my name is Robin Ingersoll, and this is my voice almost 4 months. Or is it over 4 months? Hold on.
This is fucking terrifying. This is absolutely terrifying. Like, we're like mutilating kids on a government level. Like, what the fuck are we doing? All right, so after the school shooting, obviously on r/trans guns, all right, go, stay armed, girls. Oh God, a friend's giving outfit. Let's go, girls. This is right after a massive trans shooting. Again, holy shit, mass shooting in Canada helped prompt changes to firearm laws. Yeah, we know. We know. That's crazy. National Gun Association, right? Dude, this is based, by the way. National Association for Gun Rights, right? This is the NRA. Or whatever. Not exactly, but NRA contemporary. What an odd thing to say. You mean to tell me that mass shootings are going to force you to clamp down on guns? So you're going to manipulate kids into becoming violent retards, and then after they commit mass atrocities, you will use that to control your people even further? And remove their, rights to bear arms. Not that they ever had any in Canada. I'm just going to say the quiet part out loud. I probably should have just said this earlier, but I think it's pretty obvious. If there was a security guard with a gun at that school, this trans shooter might not have killed anyone. I'm just saying, if there was a gun there, that might have saved lives. No one knows. Everyone talks about how many lives are taken by guns. No one talks about how many lives are saved by guns. There isn't a real metric for it. But every time a police officer, or security guard, or a bystander that actually takes out a violent criminal, quite literally, that saves lives. I can't even imagine an instance where someone will walk into a school and murder 10 people and then shoot another 24 people before this person gets taken down. There were just no guns. Last time I heard about this was like on Bondi Beach in Australia, where the dude massacred like 15 Jews, right? And just shot into the crowd on the beach. They have no gun laws. They don't have guns in Australia. They have laws to prevent people from having guns. Like, if that would have happened in America or in Israel or whatever, places with an armed population, dude would not have gotten off shot number 3. So, again, like, guns save lives. They take them, but they save them. And, we're really facing a real issue here.
Why can't I exist as my true self right now?
That's not your true self, that's why.
You don't think this is my true fucking self? What the fuck is your true self? You fucking ignorant piece of shit! Is your true self being a little fucking pussy who's shorter and feels insecure about how they are? What? Oh, you don't like coming into people's spaces and getting them uncomfortable for being their true selves? You don't like when people fucking do that to you? Then fucking learn and do that somewhere else and stop coming here, you fucking piece of shit!
It's almost like a lot of them are irrational or something. I don't know if any of you are picking up on this.
All right, man. I love you. I'm not a fucking man, and you don't love me. If you loved me, you would put this fucking sign down. You would go walk, and you would thank everyone.
If you loved me, you would lie to me, and then you would call me my correct pronouns when I massacre your children.
For being here authentically, as opposed to telling them with their fuckhead sign that they need to fucking convert and no longer exist. Stop fucking.
No one's telling these people not to exist. We're just hoping that they could be comfortable in their own bodies. I'm sorry if that confuses you, sir.
Ruining pride for fucking everyone.
Stop ruining pride, okay? Satan came up with that, all right? And it was really. Satan came up with that, and he was really cooking when he invented that thing, you know? That's pretty insane. Pretty insane indeed. Yeah, so these are all clips that just happened. This just happened yesterday. I can't show you the rest on YouTube, obviously, for violence purposes, but you got the idea, all right? This is a trans person beating the shit out of a random woman in school. Again, not to say that straight people don't do violence, or white people, or black people, or Jews, or Asians, or whatever don't commit violence. Obviously they do. But if you look at the actual statistics, there really is no doubt. There really is no doubt that it's objectively terrifying. All right, it is violence at an objectively high rate, statistically speaking. All right, this isn't coming from a place of bitterness or evil. Objectively, they are violent on the same rates as schizophrenic people. Like 9 times more likely to commit mass shootings. 9 times more likely, right? Almost 3 times more likely to commit sexual assaults, according to this study. They talked to 50 million people on this study. All right, 25 million men, 23 million women, and 47,000 trans people. The moral of the story is objective reality matters, and according to the left, objective reality doesn't exist. They just speak things into existence, and that's just how they want the world to look, and therefore that's how they're just going to accept how the world operates. You know, they'll teach women not to get married and to become a girl boss, just like a man, and, you know, they end up miserable and depressed because they're not married with children. You know, and they teach men, you know, you don't have to be manly or anything, and then you have men who are just completely alone forever, too, because turns out if they're a white knight lib cuck, no one actually likes them. Like, they'll tell you fat is beautiful, all right? Fat is not unhealthy, all right? Transgenderism is totally normal and physically natural. It's not murder to kill babies, they say. Physical reality is irrelevant to these people. We are living in a world of lies, and thank God that he gave us a path to actually find genuine, real truth, which coincidentally happened to be the consensus of, like, every single civilization in the history of time. God says, love thy neighbor. And God also says to rebuke your fellow man. Tolerating all this shit, all right, being a tolerant person to all this debauchery, that's not making you a pious person, all right? Tolerance is not a virtue. Intolerance is. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.